Hey everybody, welcome in, and today we will be going through what is the best value in each of the exchange tabs. Now, in past, I've done a big explanation, taking quite a while breaking down each single tab in one video. Not today. So I've had some feedback from all of you that you want things to be a bit sharper, more precise to the point, but also another side of people who do really appreciate the breakdowns. What is the difference of the cost and why things are going to be? So what I am going to do today I'm going to run through each one, just pointing out which one's the best so we know. And then in another videos, I'll go into each separate tab and do cost breakdowns and also do comparisons. So if you're wanting that, stay tuned. Let me know which ones you would like to see the most importantly down in the comments below, and we can get to those. But for now, we're just going to go through and tell you all what is best and what to kind of look out for, and we'll do the analysis, the deep analysis, in another video. So let's jump into the premium exchange, the gem exchange. So as you'll notice up here, the very top row has a high price. These were all exclusive characters originally, and so they got a more exclusive price tag on their gems. But when you look down, you can see a difference between, say, the Lumiere tokens and the Prince Eric tokens. 9 tokens for 450, 900. Look at the costs, know what you are looking for. If you are purchasing with gems, the people I'd say who will be purchasing this would be either very in-game players who have an excess of gems that they're using, people who are buying gems, or people who are looking to get up on a certain event type, say Big Hero 6 or Beauty and the Beast or Frozen. If you want to get a head start on whichever event you are grinding for, this is better to get some of these tokens, the 9 stacks or the cheap ones, than it is to buy a pack with super low odds. So just keep that out there, and I'll talk more on this into the more in-depth videos. And then moving on down to when we get into the gear, pretty much I'd say for the gear here, the only ones that would be worth it yet again in game would be for this T7 gear. And some of these stacks is actually very cheap compared to like the super low farming rates at how much this costs to get it. But now I would say in game, because only when you got excess gems, and only if you're going to be farming these anyway, you can spend a whole lot more energy and get a whole lot less of these. So that's to take a note, especially say like see the downtown villain, those little cloth look things. Those are quite expensive other places. That is quite cheap, 30 for 20 of them. That is a very good price. So for things like that, when you're getting more of something, and especially for say the oceanic, those type specific circular ones, those ones, the emblem ones, I'll call them. Those two types, whichever types are cycled through there, those two have good value for how much you're getting. Is what I would recommend. And even these ones like the essences, if you see the type of essence that you need, those are good value. Now comparatively to the tier 6 gear, these are super expensive for what they are. So I'd say avoid those. I'll talk about more of those into future videos, so stay tuned for that. Now we move across to the daily exchange, which is pretty much a gold exchange. I don't know why they call it the daily exchange. But avoid all these top rows. Now down to the very bottom one, these are the only ones that are really good value for the cost of gold, and since the gold exchange is super inflated, that's high price for very hardly any, whereas these, you need hardly any of these to gear up. You don't need massive stacks, and so it's worth the gold, so you don't have to spend your resources farming these ones. So this bottom row here is the best choice out of the gold exchange. Now, club exchange, if there's going to be different tiers to this. If you are beginner, go for character tokens. Go for characters that you will be needing. Don't go for Baloo. Not just yet. He's trash at the moment. He's the exclusive price in here as well, so he's a higher price. But when you see the likes of, say, Kristoff, if you're going for the Frozen event, goodbye. If you see Hook is a good cheap oceanic character, cheaper than Jack Sparrow, which Jack Sparrow used to be a whole lot better. he hasn't aged well in this game, whereas Hook, I'd rather go for the cheaper Oceanic. Now, if you are not in that category and going for that, there's one other thing, is if you also need an extra type of character to get further in the type of event, say if you need a downtown villain, or if you need another wilds character, or the likes, if you need another kingdom character, and Mickey, those would be exceptions to go for those ones, but I pretty much wouldn't touch the rest of them. That is just my experience. So after those, if you have farmed those ones out, for mid to end game players, I would say, originally I would have said go for the essences and the dream fragments, but now through raids, if you're in a high tier raid, tier 4, 5, or heroic, you're getting decent amount of dream fragments and essences. So those are what I used to buy here, but I would say these other tier 7 mats are not worth it. I'll be only going for these tier 6 ones, and so the droplets, the tier 5 droplets, and then the tier 6 mats. Those are what is worth it here. And then even the low tier mats, if you're taking up new characters, pretty much the lower they are in here, the better value they are. So in the club exchange, it's better for gear. Anything from low tier all the way up until the tier 5, tier 6. And then after that, the tier 7 just gets a bit expensive for what you can get in here. So I'd say work your way up, whatever you need. If you're aiming for a character, work your way up from the bottom to the top, but stopping at the droplets and then the tier 6 mats will be my advice. Now, tournament exchange. These are, yet again, the top row were old exclusives. Hades, Shan, Mordu, all used to be only getting here. Now you can farm those 3. Horn King is now going to be amazing in raids, or pretty decent in raids. Maybe not amazing. Pretty decent in raids. Same with Merlin. And I would say, first priority, Anna farming from here. I would farm Anna from here. She'll probably be the best pick. And then maybe if you want to go and get, after her, get maybe Dr. Facilia. He's going to help you in tower modes. This is all for more beginning players. And then after that, if you want another Oceanic, just to fill your Oceanic roster to get further in some of the Oceanic niches, I would say Tank, but I'll be careful on her. She's not great. There is a use for her now, but that's only super late game. So I'll talk about that in a future video. So outside of those ones, yet again, only get a character who you need to fill out. So if you want a cheap mythical, go for Madam Mim. If you want Merlin, because he's going to be amazing in raids, and I think pretty decent outside of that too, I'd say go for him. But that is your choice. Once you are done with these, I am hoarding my currency to keep up around 1 million. So when they do refresh this, I will be able to purchase other characters. But other than that, when I get up around there, I will purchase any of these lower cost ones to get more 7-star exchanges for the 7-star exchange that we'll be moving on into. But for now, let's go over to the tower exchange. So in here, my honest opinion for all of these is, out of all of these spells, the only really good ones that you'd ever want to specifically farm, I would say, would be Conjuring Cauldron, Fairy Slumber. Those would be the best 2, and maybe Peter's Shadow. Those ones are also Splash Mountain. Any of those would be worth farmable, but only to max. I would actually, honestly, instead of getting like 2 tokens for 2,000, the far best value is getting the spell packs. And get the spell packs all the way up until you've got 50 or 60, 70% of what is in there maxed. And then when that has happened, then start moving on to focus farming, or you can just continually open them until you get majority of everything maxed, like 80% of it maxed. And then you'll still be getting 7-star exchange tokens from this as well. So that's what I'm currently doing in game. I've got it all done, and I just use them to get more tokens for the 7-star exchange. And that is definitely what I want. And I would say don't bother buying any of these mats. They are quite pricey for, like, you need a lot of them to actually level up the spells. It's not worth the currency that they take. You might as well just get them from doing your daily tower. And if you're doing a daily tower, you'll be able to level up a spell like once a month or a couple of times a month. Max level to level 4 once a month. So I'll just you do that once a month and use your tokens to get further along. Now, raids. They have moved the tier 7 gear to the very top. That is by far what you want to be aiming for. I would say I wouldn't even bother with any of these tokens. They're not worth going for. There'll be special exceptions when you'd maybe, if you're in an event that you can get there, you can level up and get better rewards just before the event goes. Maybe that might be worth it, but everything else I just farm it. Now, getting down to the other tier 7 gear, what I would say is these ones here. So the weaves and the scales, all those type of looking ones for 3,000. Outside of those very top gear for the tier 7 ones, they're exclusive to get tier 8 gear. Those ones are the best at the top. Then I'll say these ones down here are a very good price. So I'd be stocking up on these ones here. And even if you have excess, going for these emblem, the type emblem ones, because they're a little bit more expensive, but you'll still need to be farming all of these other ones. So these ones are just ridiculously expensive. You'll still need to farm that type. I would farm that type with energy, buy the top ones priority with the tower gear, and then if you've got excess tower gear, you're waiting to level up a character, I'll just get these ones here and then move on through, and the rest is pretty much not worth it. Now for the Sorcerer's Exchange. In here, pretty much the only things, there are two things you're going to be wanting to get, and I'll do breakdowns on everything else in another one, but pretty much you only want to get these chipped stones up to make the stones that you need to have. And majority, you'll be wanting to buy a whole lot of these chipped topaz, and then the only fragments that I would want to get would be the yellow ones. Those are the only ones that you want to be purchasing here. So for this, you want to purchase these ones. Any of the other ones you don't want to purchase from here because it's a waste of your currency. It's so hard to get yellow ones. The speed ones are the key. Only buy the ones to get speed, and that is all. As for the little chipped versions of these, get those only for what you need to make when you can make stones through the actual events. Everything else only by yellow, only by speed. That is it. That is what's important. Now, token exchange. What I would say, this is the 7-star token exchange. When you duplicate a character token, when you've maxed them out, then you get their characters again, like we saw in the arena and the tower exchanges, how I got those. They go to this exclusive exchange. Now, this is where I would personally prioritize a Steamboat Mickey. And the reason why I prioritize him is just because he's an exclusive. The only way to get him is through here, although they have had that new Steamboat arena event in that it looks like it might be maybe a once-a-year event or something like that. But if you wanted to, you can get his tokens there. Hopefully he gets a buff. He's not amazing. He's more of a trophy at the moment. But when he is needed, it would be nice to have him. Other than that, what I'd say is if you have maxed out a few characters and then you're getting some other tokens coming in or some spells or whatever else it is, if you haven't finished Dr. Facilier, maybe you can potentially slowly start to max him out here, although you need to get 10 duplicates to even get one of his tokens, so is it worth it? Or you can start going and just get this. So tier 5 and 6 gear is what is worthwhile buying from here. Any of this row, pretty much get whatever you need, and that is all. That is what I would say. Go for it. Now, for the VIP exchange here, what is worth the money? Pretty much all these first ones, the loyalty coins, the ultimate chest, all these. If you want to be buying them anyway, that you want to get them for a cheaper price here. And likewise with any of these, the Sorcerer's Stone fragments and all those types of things, that if you are purchasing packs and things like that, this is probably an okay price to be buying them at. Now I'd say buying Jesse tokens for gold coins is a steal. Just take them so you can progress in the Toy Story event, because you get very good rewards from that event. You can like just fully load up your HP mats, and it is amazing. Now as for these other characters down here, getting say like the likes of Davy Jones and Zurg, who are more exclusively to get, this could be a good way to get them and get them max if you wanted to rush. I've heard a lot of people that do this, they can't get enough of these stones. Now, getting beaters for gold is a steal. Anything for gold in here is a steal. Well worth it. And then the rest of them, like people just running out of gammas and beaters, just go for it. If you're like super well and you're getting so much mats, then buy whatever you want down here. But other than that, these are decent gem costs for a lot of these gear. They're going to be a little bit cheaper than they are in the premium exchange. So there, that is what it is. But if I was in here, if I was a VIP, I would pretty much be aiming for the gold ones. So the betas, the Jessie, only up until you max her. When you max her, I wouldn't touch it anymore. And then maybe going for the speed stones when the speed stones turn up in here, just because speed stones are OP. Get those ones. And for TRITON Tower, we will have to do another one for Stitch Tower, and I believe I have done one for Stitch Tower. But pretty much what you're going to want to go for is save up, only use it for King TRITON. Get King TRITON. If you're on lower levels and you're finding it hard to farm Ariel and Eric, slowly farm them up. Use these here. Use any of these ones too. If it is going to help you progress and get more rewards, farm them. If not, leave it alone. Save up your gear. And only use your gear on these other characters if it will help you get more rewards. If you're like nearly there unlocking it, but you needed to get like a few more tokens to get to the next stage, to get more coins, do it. If not, save it, get the TRITON coins, and go from there. Now, if you have maxed all these other characters up here, then I'd move down to the gear, and I would only go for, yet again, the droplets and all of the tier 6 mats, any of the lightnings, the needles, the corals. These mats here are going to be what is more worthwhile. Similar for the Stitch exchange, characters only if it's going to help you level up and get through a stage of something to get you more rewards. Other than that, save for Stitch and then move down to the gear. And that's what I would go for all of these. So hopefully this has been a good run through the exchange of what is best from all these. Stay tuned for in-depth valuations on why each thing in each exchange is more valuable or better value for you, and how I base off my valuations. Where do I get these? Where do I get these amounts, or where do I place my value on all these things? If you want to be interested in any of those, let me know which exchange you want to hear from me the most in. And if you got any other questions that I didn't really touch on, or I skimmed over, maybe some characters in there that you want to ask about, head to the comments below, help others out, ask me some questions. Head to my Discord if you want to see me there. Catch me live on Twitch, all down in the wombling my words, down in the description below. So hopefully I'll see you on one of those platforms, and at least in the comments. Come on, I'll see you down there. And we'll see you on the next video anyway, and let me know which one you'd like to see.